In this video, I'm giving you guys a less expensive version of every major chemical that I'm using to do the exterior detail on this Audi so that you can, number one, become a more effective detailer, and number two, do it all at a lower cost. What's going on, guys? Luke here with Wilson Auto Detailing. Listen, I was doing an exterior detail on this Audi behind me just the other day for a maintenance client, and one of the things I was thinking that would have been really useful for me more in the beginning stages of my business is to know how to get my hands on products that I needed, but at a lower price, and maybe even how to use them in a more effective way than the products I was looking at buying. So in every stage of this exterior detail process, I'm going to, number one, tell you the product I'm using and its price. I'm going to compare that to the more popular version of a product like that and that particular price. And I'm going to tell you guys exactly when to use this and where to potentially not use it so you can know exactly what you're doing. We're going to start with the wheels, tires, and wheel wells of the Audi. The product that I'm using here diluted 10-to-1 is called Dark Fury, and it is from Superior Products. Many people in the detailing business have been talking about this product because it tends to be so versatile for exterior uses. Dark Fury for a gallon size costs $27.99, and that price is specific to Oreilly's in store. So these prices that I'm giving you of these products are specific to what Oreilly is selling them at on their shelves. And the product that I would compare this to is Meguiar's Wheel and Tire Cleaner, because the Meguiar's Wheel and Tire Cleaner is probably the more popular, well-known version of a wheel and tire dedicated cleaner product in the detailing world. Meguiar's Wheel and Tire Cleaner on Amazon comes in at about $30 per gallon. So while yes, it is only marginally more expensive than the Dark Fury, here's what I would say, and many of you who have experience with the product would probably agree. The Dark Fury can be diluted much more than Meguiar's Wheel and Tire Cleaner. Generally, I use Meguiar's Wheel and Tire Cleaner if I am detailing something like a powder-coated wheel or some aftermarket wheel that I want to make sure there's no risk involved. Meguiar's Wheel and Tire Cleaner is comparative to what I would say P&S Interior Express Cleaner is for the interior of vehicles. If I'm dealing with an interior that I want no risk and I want to make sure I'm not going to damage anything, I'm going to default to P&S Interior Express Cleaner. That being said, there are more effective cleaners that can get the job done much quicker, and if you know what you're doing, you can dilute them at certain ratios to make sure they are safe. Dark Fury is one of those products. It is an extremely effective wheel and tire cleaner, but just like I've shown Meguiar's Wheel and Tire Cleaner in many other applications, Dark Fury can be used in those applications as well, specifically bug removal, tar removal from the lower rocker panels, general exterior all-purpose cleaner is kind of what I like to categorize it as, and my basic dilution is 10-to-1. Because I can dilute it so much heavier than Meguiar's Wheel and Tire Cleaner, the $27.99 gallon ends up going way further than the $30 gallon of the Meguiar's Wheel and Tire Cleaner. In fact, I would say I probably get about 30 to 40% more use out of the Dark Fury than I would out of the gallon size of the Meguiar's Wheel and Tire Cleaner, just because of the way it's diluted. The next product I want to move to that I'm using for the foam wash on the exterior detail here is called Dirt Buster, also from Superior Products. It is a concentrated body shop safe exterior wash. Now, it is not even specifically for foam cannons, and yet I'm using it in the foam cannon just to prove to you guys how effective it is and how thick, quote unquote, the foam suds can be using a product like this. The gallon size of this product comes in at $11.99, and the product that I would compare it to is Meguiar's Hyperwash. Meguiar's Hyperwash is $39 for a gallon size on Amazon, and so you can obviously see there's a gigantic difference between the price of these products. The thing that I want to point out here more than anything else is that if I'm using both of these products in a foam cannon, I can definitively say the Dirt Buster absolutely produces more foam. This is something many detailers are concerned about. The thing that I'm more concerned about is how effective the actual wash is, but if you're concerned about foam and suds, I can promise you the Dirt Buster definitely produces more foam than the Hyperwash, at least in my experience. And this is using a basic generic foam cannon without changing out the orifice. Everything stayed the same of the foam cannon. The only difference was the soap used. And I can promise, after using Meguiar's Hyperwash in literally hundreds of details and Dirt Buster at this point in dozens, the Dirt Buster is way more dilutable. In other words, I get more foam for less product. The other thing that I put in this solution is a product called Road Warrior, because I use Road Warrior sort of as a tar remover or as an extra punch add-on for a foam cannon for a white car like this that's been sitting outside that needs that surface layer of grease and grime ripped off. Road Warrior is specifically used by guys who own RVs, who are washing their RVs, and they need to remove that thick grease that kind of builds up on the outside, and it's why I like to add a splash of it into a foam cannon, because it makes that exterior non-agitation wash even more effective. The gallon size of Road Warrior comes in at $14 per gallon, and the product that I would compare this product to is Optimum Power Clean. Optimum Power Clean is a product that I used for years, still love it. It's harder to get now, but on Amazon it comes in at about $40. So we're talking about the difference between a $14 product and a $40 product for a gallon size. I also tend to dilute Road Warrior more than I dilute Optimum Power Clean. Now, the reason why I mentioned that Road Warrior is really effective for RV owners is because on the exterior of RVs, you have a lot more rubber material than you do on a traditional car, but there is a lot of overlap in that. In an RV, you're going to have a lot of rubber trim around windows. You've got rubber roofs. You've got roof drains on RVs, and as we know in the detailing world, what happens when that rubber starts to get sunburnt and degrade over time, particularly around the window sills. When water gets on it and then drips on the other areas of the car or the RV, you've got this black streaking that occurs in addition to all of the other surface dirt on the exterior of a car, and it can be very, very difficult to pull off of RVs in particular. And the same thing can be said of cars when we're doing some exterior detailing. Now, not only does Road Warrior make removing this type of dirt specifically very easy, but it's also a water-soluble product, so it's not solvent-based, so it's not going to damage any exterior decals or anything like that. Now, when I moved to the agitation wash, I used yet again the same product, Dirt Buster, which again is $11.99 per gallon, so you can see how much use I'm getting out of this product using it in a foam cannon and in the agitation wash. And it's something I don't really like about the detailing world when we always separate out, this is our foam cannon wash, this is our agitation wash. Sometimes that's appropriate, 90% of the time I think it's really inappropriate and doesn't really make any sense. But in addition to the Dirt Buster in my agitation wash, I threw in a little bit of degreaser called Muscle Magic from Superior Products. And the Muscle Magic product comes in at a gallon size at $12.99, and what I would compare it to is Meguiar's Super Degreaser, which comes in at about $47 on Amazon for a gallon size. Now, it is important for me to say that Muscle Magic is an extremely overbuilt degreaser, which means it needs to be diluted very, very heavily in order to maintain a safe concentration of the chemical. According to Superior Products, it's about 5 times as concentrated as a product like Purple Power. And because of that, we need to maintain a heavy dilution. 20-to-1 is about as heavy as I would go in any normal situation, and it's why I only add a splash of it to my exterior agitation wash process. It adds a little bit of an extra punch, and it takes very, very, very little. It's far more concentrated than Super Clean and Purple Power, and for that reason, not only am I getting way more for my money on the buy, I'm getting way more for my money in the dilution and the use of the product. Now, a lot of detailers reach for something like Super Clean or Purple Power when they're trying to find a cheap gallon size of a degreaser that can be used for detailing in different ways, but they don't want to use something more expensive like Meguiar's Super Degreaser. The reason I'm liking the Muscle Magic product is because it is actually dedicated for automotive use rather than something like Super Clean, which has 1,000 different uses. And yes, Super Clean can easily damage something in the incorrect dilution, though again, with the correct dilution and the correct application, it can be very, very safe. I'm really liking the Muscle Magic because it goes head to head in terms of price with these other less expensive degreasers, and yet it actually is designed for automotive use. So at the proper dilutions, it becomes an extremely effective chemical that I'm really not very worried about. It also packs a great punch in the agitation wash for this particular Audi, where we had, in addition to that surface level grease, a lot of aphid residue, which is really sticky and can even be like tree sap that was easily ripped off, not just from the pressure washer and the foam cannon wash, but in the agitation wash, the last bit of that residue was pulled off as well. Now, after the agitation wash, I went ahead and moved to putting some sort of protection on the vehicle, and in this case, it was Formula 4 spray wax, which is really an industrialized commercial spray wax used in a lot of like automated car washes. They spray it on the car as you're kind of moving out. They blow those big blowers on the car, and it blows all the water off, and it makes it beat up. Formula 4 spray wax is again from Superior Products. A gallon size comes in at $26.99, and it is unbelievably dilutable. I dilute it really most concentrated at about 10-to-1, and most of the times I'll use it something like 20-to-1 or maybe even a little bit more than 20-to-1. So I get a crazy amount out of a single gallon, and it's actually difficult to find a product to compare this to because it's a very unique product. It's not a spray wax in that I'm going to go by hand and apply it to the entire car. When I'm rinsing off the agitation wash, I can take a pump sprayer, spray this all around the car. It's going to make all of that water beat up, which is going to extend your washing time if you're washing in direct sun. But even more than that, here it's going to serve as my protection and my final gloss for this particular detail. And I'm basically removing the amount of time it takes to put a protection on this car for customers who are not paying for that. So I can easily give them this really added service, high gloss protection on the car that's going to be a relatively surface level protection, but also speed up my detail. And the customer's extremely happy because now their car looks super shiny and there's a surface layer of protection on the car. So I spray this all over the wet car, and then when I go to rinse it off, you can see all of that water beating off the paint and beating off the windows. The product that I would compare this to at best is Meguiar's spray wax, which can be used as a rinsing aid like this, but you're not going to get even close to the results of the water beating coming off of the car like this. At best, Meguiar's spray wax is sort of a hand applied spray wax, and for a gallon size, it comes in at $36 on Amazon. So we're talking about the difference between $26.99 and $36, but we're also talking about two, in some ways, different categories of products, and you're going to get way more out of the Formula 4 because it is a concentrate and it is dilutable. Meguiar's spray wax is not dilutable and it's not water soluble, so that gallon is going to go by relatively quickly if we're comparing it to Formula 4 spray wax. So the price between these two products actually becomes a huge differentiator over time as you dilute the Formula 4 spray wax. Now, lastly, I want to talk about what I put on the tires here because this is a product called Aqua Gloss, and it's what I would compare to Meguiar's Hyper Dressing. Aqua Gloss is a water soluble or water-based dressing. It's a multi-purpose dressing, and I diluted it with water about 5-to-1 in a paint sprayer, hooked it up to my air compressor, and I use the air compressor and the paint sprayer gun to apply it very evenly to the sidewalls of the tires. The Aqua Gloss comes in at $38.99, and the Hyper Dressing comes in on Amazon at $52. Now, barring the price disparity between these two products, I would use both of these products in a very similar application, whether it's dressing an engine, dressing the sidewalls of the tires, dressing some really exposed black wheel wells like on a lifted truck or a big SUV, you know, something like that, or even dressing the black trim on the lower rocker panels on a vehicle that has a lot of black trim on it, like potentially a Jeep Wrangler, to bring back some of that black appearance, as well as making sure that it's got a certain layer of protection. When you're using a product like this in applications like that, it doesn't have to be the most expensive product. This is something where we're looking for some simple tire or engine protection, bring it back to black, and something that I can spray and walk away. Both Meguiar's Hyper Dressing and the Aqua Gloss fit that particular category for me. So for me, it's a matter of choosing which one I'm going to get more use out of, and in this case, it's going to be the Aqua Gloss. So guys, as you are looking at some of the after results of this particular detail, and you can see how dramatic the before and after was. The paint was in absolutely terrible condition as it was sitting outside, and now it looks absolutely fantastic. That is a quick list of some very basic categories of exterior detailing chemicals that you can get at a much lower price buying in this particular way, and these are the products that I would compare it to that are more expensive that still have their place, and hopefully I highlighted where some of those distinctions have been made and where you could also make some of those distinctions in your detailing business to make sure you are becoming not just a better detailer, but also a safe detailer where risk management is called for. If you guys want to check out any of these products, check out the YouTube description box below. I'll be listing all of these superior products chemicals where they are available online, though I do suggest purchasing them in store at Oreilly. And if you cannot get them in store at Oreilly, Oreilly can easily ship them into that location for you to purchase them in store, sometimes even the same day. And if you want to check out any of the products I listed that are on Amazon, Amazon links will be below as well. And if you want a whole list of interior and exterior detailing products and tools that I suggest for pro detailers, that's really ultra simplified, and it's a really step-by-step guide, it's a free resource I have below called the Pro Detailing Toolbox as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, remember, a great detailer is always learning, and from Luke here at Wilson Auto Detailing, I will see you guys in the next video.